your life to get to where you're at right now. So you might as well enjoy the journey and just embrace life. Have a life with a purpose. Live your life with a purpose. Don't go through life living without a purpose. Embrace the act of living. Don't think about the past. You know, don't think about too far in the future. Embrace the now. Live in the now. You know? When you learn to live in the now, you experience life more happier. You know, you start to enjoy the little things. You take time to smell the roses. You know, which brings me to principle number 1. Learn to live consciously. You know, learn to enjoy the small things. You know, learn to be in the present. Act as if everything matters. I got it. I got it. But nothing is really important. Be mindful of the simple things around you. When you're mindful of the simple things around you, what you do is you release negative energy, and that's important living in this negative society. Just enjoy life. You know, there's a story of a man. He was in the jungle, and he was found by a tiger. I would tell the story, but I got this guy. Y'all seen King of the Hill? Go ahead, hit that for me, brother.
Okay, where do I do it?
Just click on the screen.
Okay. Yep.
Play.
It's in playing video.
Well, anyways, I'll tell the story. There's a man. He was in the jungle. So he was looking around, and all of a sudden he seen a tiger. And so he starts running. He's running, and he jumps off a cliff because the tiger's getting ready to eat him. And so he grabs onto a branch, and he's hanging onto the branch. And below him there's a tiger. And above him there's a tiger. So he's in the middle of this cliff. Just picture him hanging onto the cliff for dear life. And while he's hanging on for dear life, he looks to his left, and he sees a strawberry. This is the most succulent strawberry, the most biggest strawberry he's ever seen. So with one hand while he's hanging on for his life, in the other hand he reaches and tastes the strawberry. This is the best tasting strawberry he ever had in his whole life. And that's the end of the story. You know, a lot of people are like, well, is there more to the story? No. You know, the man's getting ready to die, and he takes time to taste the strawberry. If he had not been in that position, even in adversity, he took time to realize that, hey, I have to live in the moment. I have to live for this moment. You know, so be able to live in the moment. Principle number 2 is surrender to your inner power. You know, to be human and experience the magic of life is to accept a higher power within that knows, guides, and directs. This doesn't come from intellect. This doesn't come from learning things. It's just, it's not a religious view, but for some of y'all who want to believe it is, you can believe that. But what I'm referring to is a subtle shift in your thinking. You know, as your thinking will serve you a greater knowledge. It's a new conception pattern it shapes your reality. It's a way of making your life an art form. You know, a lot of times there's different sports players. Does this one play? Nah. Well, a lot of times there's different sports players, they say they're in the zone. You know, have you ever heard any athlete say I'm in the zone? Yeah. And what they say when they're in the zone is like an out-of-body experience. It's like you're watching yourself. You know, it's just the inner part. It's called body knowing, because it's just something that takes over you. It's a different experience that you do. A lot of people say, hey, how do I do this? Why would I want to do this? You want to do this because it takes you to your creative place. That's where it takes you. You know, how many times you've been somewhere and say, hey, you just know. It's that little voice in your head that tells you what to do. But you're like, hey, I knew I should have did that. Hey, that's body knowing. And brings me to principle number 3. You know, let life live. For the last one, let life live and live your life. You know, I want everybody to say this affirmation with me. The universe is in perfect order.
The universe is in perfect order.
Say it again.
The universe is in perfect order.
Yeah. You got to understand you were created to be on this earth, and everything's in perfect order. You got to live your life and understand that everything's going to be all right. How many times have y'all been in something and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to make it through? But you're here right now.
Yeah.
You know? Now, principle number 3, what I'm going to do is teach you guys is how to transform fear and anxiety into power. You know, it's been said that Fear is a mind killer, a little death that destroys the spirit. Whether we like to believe it or not, fear, it motivates us more than any other things. A lot of times people say, hey, I was scared, so I had to do this. I was scared, so I had to do this. What fear does, it rules our actions. Fears are stories we tell ourselves. A lot of times, things aren't even real. Like, we might be scared of something that we never done before, and then you do it and say, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Fears are stories we tell ourselves, and a lot of times, we're telling ourselves the wrong stories. So we got to change the way we think about our thinking. Fear versus fright. Fear is a taught response. Fright, we're naturally born with. You guys heard of fight or flight? When an organism is faced with danger, it either fights or it flees. It's just a natural response. How you can think about it is, have you ever seen a little baby go near like a vicious dog and everybody like, hey, get that baby away from that dog. Get that baby. And the baby's not even scared. And a lot of times because they're taught fear through their parents. Unconsciously, through the subconscious, they're taught fear from their parents. A lot of times our fears are taught. Fear is a pattern interpreted through reality. A common fear, and these are the most common fears. Fear of death. What I don't understand, I fear. Fear of loss. I possess objects and people. You don't want to lose anything. Fear of the unknown outcome. People like to feel in control. They want to control things. They want to be able to control outcomes. Fear of the truth. The truth is a hard pill to swallow. Nobody likes the truth. Fear of being loved. I don't love myself, so I don't feel I deserve to be loved. Fear of another person. I believe people are more better than me. I believe people are more powerful than me. Fear of rejection. A lot of times people have fear of rejection. They don't want to be rejected. Everybody wants to be accepted. Fear of confrontation. People should believe what I believe. So what we're going to do is look at the concept of fear. We tend to think of fear as a natural response, but really it's not. So, guilt. There go the baby not scared of the dog that I was talking about earlier. Fear, guilt is fear of something we already done. Resentment is fear of something that was done to us. Hostility is fear of something being done to us in the present. And anxiety is fear of what happened to us in the future.
Okay then.
So what I'm going to teach you guys is 3 steps how to unlearn fear. The first step is recognizing. What are you really fearing? Any fears? Say something you might fear. Anybody?
Snakes.
Snakes? Why do you fear snakes? Because they're venomous, right?
Yeah.
What you got to do is see that emotion clear in your mind. Whatever your fear is, you need to see that emotion clear in your mind. Face that fear. When you see it in your mind, think about what's causing this fear. Really analyze what you're really scared of. The second step is facing the fear. Once you analyze what you're really scared of, you want to take it head on. Face the fear, look it in his eye and say, hey, you might be stopping me from my destiny. You might be stopping me from success. And the third one is to LIG, let it go. Let the fear go because it doesn't serve you. It keeps you where you're at. It keeps you from tasting new things, new experiences, meeting new people. Don't really fear. And now here's principle. Oh, well, this is my story about fear. I had a fear of flying. This is the movie. It was a clip from Final Destination. How many guys seen that movie?
Yeah.
The very first one.
Yeah.
When he gets on the plane and he sees the plane crash, and for a kid who's about to fly, that's not a movie you want to show him. So I've seen the movie, and I was getting ready to fly to Atlanta to live, and it's my first time flying. So I'm telling my sister I'm scared because we watched this movie, and I get on the plane and I'm thinking the exact scene's gonna happen. And so all I do is put on my headphones and just, sometimes you just have to do it. It was something that I had to do to get me through it. And here goes principle number 4. Follow your passion. A lot of times we go through life doing what other people want us to do, doing what everybody else is doing. What you want to do is follow your passion. Find the underlying passion and pursue it. Go where your soul says, yes, this is right for me. Go where you say, hey, people say I'm good at this, you know. A lot of times people, they like to do what other people do just because other people's doing it. But a lot of times you need to stick out and find your passion. How do I find my passion? Take what you love, what you're good at, and what pays well, and find the balance in between them. You know, and learn from everything around you. There's different teachers. Look around. You might find something in here that might be a passion. You know, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Be able to learn from everything. Learn in every situation, because everything is a learning experience. The good, the bad, and the indifferent. You know, and beware of dream stealers.
Oh, Lord.
What this clip was, how many of you guys seen The Pursuit of Happiness?
Yeah.
Well, y'all know what this is. This is when Will Smith is playing basketball with his son, and he's like, well, you might not be too good at basketball because I was never that. And he's like, all right. So the son throws the basketball, and he gives up. And he's like, well, hey, don't let nobody ever tell you you can't do something, even me. You know, if you want to do it, if you have a dream, protect it. Protect your dream, because there's a lot of people who cannot do what you can do, or they cannot think how you can think, so they'll tell you your dream is not possible.
Come on.
Don't let them tell you that. Believe your dream is possible. You know? Follow your intuition. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to test new things, and get on your path to your life's mission, because it's waiting for you. You know. So what if people talk about you? They're already talking about you right now. Just pursue what you do. Don't worry about the money right now. Once you get good at it, if you follow your passion, the money will follow.
Yes.
Alright.
You know? And this is the most important principle. If you're taking notes, or you should be taking notes, this is the one you want to remember the most, is practice right thinking. You know? A lot of times our minds are good at tricking us, at creating patterns of negativity, you know. A lot of times we're thinking and we're constantly struggling between wanting more, or getting more, or at least wanting something different. You know, we have a cycle of past regrets. All we think about is we believe what we did in the past. So a lot of times our mind is thinking on the past things. So what we must do, the first step is we must become enlightened. Enlightenment means taking full responsibility of your life. You know, a lot of times people go through life pointing the finger. When I was in middle school, I used to get in trouble a lot through school, and every time when I go to the office, the teacher would say to me, Mr. Owens, you need to start taking responsibility for your own actions. And I never really knew what that meant till I got grown, and I understand you can't blame people for your actions.
Yes.
You know? And so what you want to do is become enlightened, because when you become enlightened, when your mind becomes enlightened, when you become enlightened, your mind becomes enlightened. When you become sad, your mind becomes sad. So what you want to do is work on your mind. You know, by simply changing the way we think, we can literally transform our daily experiences. We have great concerns about our outer body and the outer things of how things look. And what we need to do is think about our most greatest assets, our mind, you know. And we only think about the outer body because a lot of times we're externally driven. You know, it takes time for people to understand that they don't understand or work on things they can't see. So because you can't see the mind, a lot of times people don't work on it. We don't value things we can't see, so we got to force the process and think about it. So what is right thinking? It's the concept that we create by our thoughts and experiences that we encounter in life, that our thoughts are things, a force of energy, that when projected into the universe actually affect others and the natural reality. So what does that mean? That your thoughts are real things. Your thoughts have physical power. You know, me and my buddies, we did an experiment. There's a guy called Dr. Emoto, and he did an experiment where it's a 30-day experiment where he puts rice in 3 beakers, in 3 different beakers. And he pours water in the rice about halfway. And I'm doing this at home, and I've seen the difference just in a week. And what it does is you speak to the rice. To one rice, he says, thank you. To one rice, he says, you're full. To the other rice, he says nothing. He ignores it. And for 30 days, he speaks to this rice every single day. And the rice that he says thank you to, what it does, it ferments. It's just a regular one. It's still white. And for the rice that he says full to, it starts to turn brown. It starts to get rotten. And for the rice that he left alone, it starts to turn rotten. And so what that shows is the power of words and the intent on words. You know, our bodies, what's making the rice turn brown is the water in it. When he speaks to the water, it makes one go rotten and the one's keeping it fermented. And our bodies is made of mostly water, so it has the same effect on us. I did the experiment, and my rice, it stinks bad. It smells like throw up, or it stinks bad. And it just shows like that when people talk to you crazy and their intent, it's toxic. So it's doing the same thing to your body. You know? Right thinking is the application of positioning your thoughts that experiences outcomes are possible and positive, and you get what you want out of life. You know, thoughts are the basis of reality creation. Whether you believe it or not, your thoughts and attitude affect other people. How many times have y'all been out in the morning and say, hey, I'm about to have a bad day, and you start to have a bad day? Or you're like, hey, this person's getting on my nerves, and they start getting on your nerves anymore. Or I'm about to knock this nigga out, and you actually have to do it. Your words and your thoughts are things, you know? So, yeah. So I'm going to teach on the doctrine of right thinking. You know, thoughts are things. They have power to affect people and events. Therefore, how you think has everything to do with the reality that you experience. I'm going to say that again. Thoughts are things. They have a power to affect people and events. Therefore, how you think has everything to do with the reality that you experience. Number 2, by creating the right image or thought in your mind's eye of the kind of outcome you would like to achieve, you're able to influence or create the appropriate circumstances for that future probability to be realized. So, what you guys need to do is practice right thinking every day. You know, take 10 minutes before you go to bed, after you say your prayers or whatever your nightly routine is. Take 10 minutes to just think on good things, think on positive things, you know. When you have a negative thing come to mind, cross it out with a positive thing, you know. Practice right thinking, you know. And these 5 principles, like I taught on, you know, live consciously, live in the present. Learn from things around you. Look around and live right now, because there's no time greater than now. Number 2, surrender to your inner power. Listen to what your intuition is telling you. It's not telling you it for no reason. Number 3, transform your fears and anxiety to power. Find what you want and pursue it. Number 4, find your passion and pursue them. Number 5, practice right thinking. You know, these 5 principles may take years or even a lifetime to master, but it's experience and learning along the way. They will slowly transform your life, but you'll see results instantly. You know, embrace life with the pain, the suffering, the good, the bad, the good times. You know, live as if there's no tomorrow. Be, exist. Surrender to your inner power. Learn from all the teachers around you. Be in the world, but not of it. And remember, live the life you love and love the life you live. Be phenomenal or be forgotten. Thank you and God bless.
Following is where you're going to end up.
Yes.
See, if whoever you're following is where you're going to end up. And when I got that realization,